Hi everybody. I've tried to film this video a few times now and I just find myself rambling each time I try and film it, and it's going to be potentially boring to watch if I do that. So I want to keep myself a little bit more succinct. However, I do have a lot of things to say on this topic. This is going to be my low buy wish list, but more than that, it's just going to be my thoughts about low buys, no buys, wardrobe investments in general, how I want to be spending my money when it comes to my wardrobe going forward, and reflecting on the past year, 2 years of purchases, where I see my style now and where I want my style to go. So I only have about, let me pull up my Substack and see. So I just wrote a Substack article, a newsletter on this very same topic. It's called My Quiet Luxury Inspired Low Buy Wish List. And it just got sent out to anyone who is subscribed to my newsletter. So if you're not subscribed, it is free to subscribe. Then do make sure you go and subscribe to my Substack down below, because you usually get some hints and some further detail than what I go into in my videos. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 items on there. So this wish list, this is my wish list for the entire year. So it is highly curated. However, it is also highly luxurious. So it's interesting to observe why it is that this year I have such a small curated wish list, but such an expensive wish list at the same time. I have a few thoughts as to why that might be, which I do want to get into, but I'm going to start off by telling you the first item on my wish list, and this is probably the item that is potentially top of my wish list, bar maybe one other item, but it is also the most expensive item by far on this wish list. So the first item on the wish list is the Margot bag by The Row. Now I know what you're thinking. If you know anything about bags, if you know anything about The Row or designer items in general, you're thinking, Katie, you're just being influenced by what you see on social media, and you're not wrong. It is a very it bag at the moment. It's very popular. Some people are comparing it to the Birkin. Some people are saying it's a new heirloom bag, whatever that might mean. And I have to say, I think I did discover this bag and start really liking this bag and the look of this bag a little bit before all of the hype. I would say it was last summer, maybe early autumn, when I discovered this bag through one of my favorite creators and influencers, Hannah. I will leave her channel link down below. I'm sure all of you know her and love her, but she is probably the epitome of my style inspiration. And if I had one person who I could kind of steal their wardrobe or just their personal style, their taste, it would definitely be Hannah's. I think she always looks so chic, so timeless, but I love how her personal style doesn't change. If you go back and see photos of her 5 years ago, 7 years ago, she pretty much wears exactly the same shapes and silhouettes as she does now. And even though she is a creator and influencer, she still wears the same outfits on repeat again and again. And this is something that I really think I want to move more towards. I definitely think my style does differ from Hannah's slightly. I would say hers is very minimal, it's very neutral, it's very chic. Mine is slightly more colourful, it's slightly more vintage inspired, but I like the premise of her style being very her, very recognisably her, and as I said, she doesn't fall victim to trends and she doesn't stray too far from the pieces that she already owns and loves, and she just adds a few new pieces each season to update her look slightly, and that's definitely how I want my wardrobe and my style to evolve going forward. I was rewatching my video from a couple of years ago. It was titled You Can Afford Your Dream Wardrobe, and it was just before I embarked on my low buy year in 2022, and it was all about how I wanted to invest in just one high quality piece of clothing each month. At the time I was like 26 turning 27, and I said if I did this every month until I was 30, then I'd have added about 36 new items to my wardrobe that I loved. And looking back, I feel like I kind of fell off that a little bit. I did my low buy up until about August, September of 2022, and then I kind of fell off it. I bought a few more pieces than I should have. And then in 2023, again, I kind of got wrapped up a little bit in the need for more, the need for a bigger wardrobe, the need for more choice. I think that partly comes down to creating content and feeling the pressure to always show new clothes, show different outfits, create lots of different outfit combinations and outfit reels. And what I think I've realized is that isn't really me. And I actually love the idea, and I've always loved the idea of having a really small but highly curated wardrobe that I just kind of outfit repeat the same 10 outfits over and over again, but they're all made up of pieces that I absolutely cherish, I absolutely love, and are made of high quality, luxurious fabrics and fibres. And I think analysing Hannah and how successful she is in the industry and how many people look up to her personal style is evidence that you definitely can do that, and you can definitely be a successful fashion lover, fashion enthusiast, content creator, and actually still have a very simple, quite minimal style that doesn't change too much season to season, year to year. So the Margot bag, I feel like I just rambled for 10 minutes, but the Margot bag is the top of my wish list, really, and Hannah was actually the person who introduced me to this bag. I've never been that interested in the Row as a brand before, although I do really love a lot of their items, and I love their focus on higher qualities, on more timeless designs, not releasing loads of new things every year or every season, but actually just keeping the same core pieces that can be worn, are completely timeless, and are high quality enough to last. So I saw that Hannah had the dark chocolate brown Margot bag in the 15 size. I want to say, as I said, about early autumn last year when she started wearing it on her Instagram and on her YouTube channel, and I fell in love with it. At the time, I didn't even know it was from the Row until I kind of did some Googling, discovered it was from the Row, discovered the price point of it, and kind of put it to the back of my head and thought, well, I'll never own that. But it's kept cropping up, and obviously it's got more and more popular since then. I would say over the last 6 months, it has rapidly increased in popularity. A lot of people are now talking about it. More and more people have the bag or want the bag. It's sold out pretty much everywhere. You physically can't get your hands on this bag currently. Even if I had the money to buy it, I actually couldn't at the moment. And if I am thinking about curating a very small wardrobe made up of things that I can wear for many, many years to come, then I do potentially love the idea of this bag being a part of that. So that's why it's on the wish list, even though it is, you know, obviously a huge price point and not something that I would be rushing out to buy anytime soon. I'm actually going to do a declutter of my handbags very soon. If you would like a video on it, like my handbag collection and potentially decluttering my bag collection, then let me know down below. I could film that this week coming because I think I want to sell quite a few of my bags. I would say I have about 10 to 15 handbags at the moment, and there are the same kind of 3 or 4 that I wear about 80 to 90% of the time, and the others just go unworn. And it's not because I don't love them, I do, but it's that kind of rule that we wear only about 20% of our wardrobe 80% of the time, and the rest of the wardrobe sits unworn, unloved, and I don't really want that to be the case. I want to have a much more curated, minimal collection. Ideally, in my ideal world, I envisage myself having about 5 bags that all work for different scenarios that happen in my life, and I just rotate between those bags consistently. And that's kind of all I have. And I could definitely see the Row Margot being one of those bags if I was to do that. Although I do think the black looks stunning in the Margot. I think it's absolutely beautiful and definitely a very timeless choice. I just prefer something slightly softer. And so for that reason, I would probably go with the dark brown. I probably wouldn't go with the lighter colour because I do feel with the smooth leather that it would show scratches a lot more easily in a lighter tone. So I think I would go for a darker colour that isn't a black, and I think that dark brown is the perfect middle ground between the two. Interested to see if I still like, once the trend has died down, I'll be interested to see if this really does become like an heirloom investment piece over the years. Will it become something that is reminiscent of the new Birkin? I don't think they're the same because of the exclusivity that comes with owning a Birkin. Anyone, if you have the funds, can go out and buy the Row bag when they're in stock. So I don't think it is quite the same, but I would be interested to see if it becomes a timeless classic, a modern classic, or whether the trend kind of completely dies like so many of these modern trends do. These trends that pick up on TikTok, on social media, that are so hyped for like 2 months, and then you never hear about them again. I'd be really interested to know what happens and whether that will affect my opinion of the bag, whether I will love it as much if it does die down, or whether because it is such a beautiful timeless bag that I will love it regardless of whether the trend has been and gone. So I'll keep you updated on that one, but that is the first and most expensive item on my 2024 low buy wish list. The second item is much more affordable, but again, a very classic piece. You'll notice that I only have one item of clothing on this wish list, and the rest of it is bags, shoes, or jewelry. So I really am investing in my accessories this year, and I think that's definitely something I want to do moving forward. I read somewhere that they are like the meaty purchases. They are the things that can really make a difference to your outfits, especially if you do have quite a simple style and a style where you repeat a lot of the same outfits. It's really the accessories that pack the punch and do the work when you're wearing just like a blouse and jeans, or a t-shirt and jeans, a jumper and jeans, a jumper and trousers. It's the bags, it's the shoes, and it's the jewelry that really sets that outfit apart, and I definitely agree with that, and that's why I really want to invest most of my money this year into accessories and shoes. So the second item is a pair of boots from Duo Boots. It's a classic pair of black riding boots, a flat boot. This is something that I don't own at the moment. I have a couple of pairs of knee-high boots, but they're either suede and flat, which is not practical in wet weather, or they are heeled and leather, which is fine in rain, but I don't always want to wear a heel, nor do I always feel comfortable wearing a heel, especially if it is wet and I want something a little bit more safe for me to walk about in. So I really would love a pair of flat black leather boots. I think, although I've said I don't love black, especially when it comes to bags, I do think I would get the boots in a black, just because I do really like the idea of wearing a sheer black tie with a black boot. I think it does look better with black as opposed to a brown. That's how I would wear these boots the majority of the time, because if I'm wearing jeans or trousers, I'll probably just go for an ankle boot. But if I'm wearing a dress and tights or a skirt and tights, then that's when I'd go for the knee-high boot. The pair that are top of my wish list are these Verity boots by Duo Boots. They are a classic riding boot style. They have this slightly curved edge on the top of the boot, which I really like. It looks quite flattering, I think, on the leg. And again, I love Duo Boots because of their size inclusivity. I love that they will fit me perfectly. I love that I can get a circumference that perfectly fits my calf and I won't have to worry about that. They're also currently on sale, so I'm really tempted to buy them ASAP, but I'm trying to be really conscious about what I buy and really think about the purchases for a long time. Almost like that 30-day rule where you think about something for at least 30 days before you purchase it, which is why I haven't made the purchase of these yet, even though they are currently discounted. Currently, I'm wearing my heeled Duo boots. Anytime I want to wear anytime I would wear these flat boots, I'm actually wearing my heeled ones, just to make sure that the flat boot is definitely something that I would want to invest in, and I couldn't just make do with the heeled boot. But I do think every time I wear the heeled boots and I'm kind of doing a lot of walking, I do think I really wish I had a flat pair for this situation. So I do think it would be a good purchase, and probably one I definitely will make at some point in 2024. The next two items on my wish list are both pieces of jewelry. Jewelry is definitely something I want to invest in this year. I am very lucky that I do have quite a large jewelry collection, partly because I've worked with a few jewelry brands on my channel in the past, partly because I've been gifted jewelry over the years, and I've naturally built up a fairly extensive jewelry collection, but it's something that I really want to invest more money into this year and buy myself a couple of special pieces that are really high quality and again are almost heirloom pieces that are pieces I will have for a lifetime. The first one being a tennis bracelet. I would love a diamond tennis bracelet. I did recently work with Linya. I can leave the link to the video I made for them up in the cards if you're interested, and I talked about tennis bracelets and why I love them, and they did gift me a silver one, a sterling silver one with cubic zirconia, which is beautiful and is definitely filling the gap in my wardrobe because I didn't have a tennis bracelet previous to this. But I would love one day, maybe this year, to invest in a diamond tennis bracelet. Something that I can keep forever, that I can wear every day and never take off, and I can kind of not worry about it tarnishing. So that's something that is on my wish list. I think I would probably still go with Linya, partly because I know their quality. I've worked with them a few times in the past and I love the quality of their jewelry. I think it's outstanding. For the price point especially, it's really fair. And I do also have a discount code with them that I would definitely use myself if I was to purchase this diamond tennis bracelet. I love the hue of their solid gold. It's a 14 karat, so it's a slightly softer hue than the 18 karat gold, and it's very beautiful. It's very subtle and just pretty. So yes, a diamond tennis bracelet I would love to own one day. The next piece on my wish list is also a piece of jewelry. Well, I guess it's like a jewelry hybrid. It is a Cartier tank. Now, I spoke about this in my dream wardrobe wishlist video, which I made quite a few months ago. Some of the items in today's video are actually the same as were in that video a few months ago. They have stayed on my wish list, and this is one of them. Although I have to say I've had a few thoughts about which Cartier watch I would invest in, and it's probably changed just because I'm trying to be a little bit more realistic. So originally in that video I said I would love to own one day the Cartier Tank Louis, which is specifically in the gold, so the 18 karat gold with the leather, the brown leather strap, and that is one that I do love. I mean, if money was no object, I would absolutely choose that one. It's probably my favorite one, the one I find the prettiest, but because that one is £10,000, it's just not really something that I could realistically add to my wish list. So I was thinking about, well, would I still want to invest in a Cartier watch if it was something that was one of their more entry-level watches, their less expensive watches? And I watched a few videos and I saw a few reviews of a few different Cartier watches that are much more affordable than the Tank Louis, and I stumbled upon this one. I think it's the Cartier Tank Must in the stainless steel, and obviously it is stainless steel as opposed to 18 karat gold, so it is much more affordable than the Tank Louis. And I think, again, if money was no object, I probably would go for yellow gold. I pretty much exclusively wear yellow gold with the odd touch of silver and sometimes some white gold and some diamonds as well. But because the gold watches from Cartier are just so out of my budget, I was kind of thinking about the stainless steel, and I actually think it is very pretty and very beautiful and a nice way to mix metals. If you do still wear predominantly yellow gold, I think a stainless steel watch can look really pretty paired alongside yellow gold. And I saw a few people, I saw one of my favorite YouTubers, Thanks to Fashion, she had an unboxing video of this watch in the stainless steel, the exact one that I would like. And she paired it with, I think it was a love bracelet from Cartier, a yellow gold one. And it looked really beautiful. Like, it didn't look mismatched, it didn't look weird, even though she also wears predominantly yellow gold. It looked really stunning. So that kind of confirmed in my mind that I would potentially be interested in this stainless steel option. Now again, this is like a dream wardrobe wish list item. I have put it on my 2024 wish list because I like to manifest these things, and maybe, you know, if I am only buying just a handful of pieces this year, then it isn't completely out of the realm of possibility that this watch may be one of them. If I saved up monthly for, you know, a year, then I might be able to make this purchase. But it's just nice to have it on the wish list, to kind of contemplate it. And I think sometimes having these kind of dream items on our wish list, rather than just ruling them out completely and saying, well, I'm never going to own that, I can never afford that, actually having items like this watch on my wish list mean that anytime I want to make a slightly less expensive, more frivolous purchase, I really stop and think about it. If there's a blouse on Suzanne that takes my fancy, for example, I'm allowed to buy an item a month of my choosing while I'm on my low buy, and I really like this £100 blouse from Suzanne. When I look back on my wish list on my laptop and remember that I have the Margot bag and the Cartier watch on my wish list, suddenly I kind of stop to think about whether I actually really need that Suzanne blouse, or whether actually I would rather put that money into a saving pot and put it towards an eventual purchase like the watch or the bag. And it makes me stop and think about the smaller items, because sometimes I think we can justify the smaller items to ourselves and think, well, you know, this is all I can afford, or I can never afford these really expensive pieces, so I may as well just buy the £100 blouse. But actually, if I save that £100 every month, I would be well on my way to the watch by the end of the year. So it just helps me kind of stop and really evaluate my purchases each month, and makes me really think about what I do and don't want to spend my money on. I'm also lucky that I've been building my wardrobe now in this kind of slower fashion mindset way, with blips here and there along the way, but for sure. But I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now. I completely cut out fast fashion in the true sense of the word probably about 3 years ago now, when I started my channel. So I haven't bought any clothing from H&M, Zara, Primark, Mango, those kind of brands for a good 3 years now. So I have a base of items to work with already. So I don't really need the Suzanne blouse because, I mean, I'm wearing a Suzanne blouse now. I have a few more Suzanne blouses in my wardrobe. So I have that privilege to say no to those items. Whereas if I was at the beginning of my journey, like I'm guessing some of you are, then I might not have that privilege to actually save that money for a more expensive investment item. So I totally appreciate that it does depend on where you are in your journey. If you're building the foundations of your wardrobe now, then it might not be for a few years that you get to invest in the higher priced accessories or bags, because actually right now you need the jeans, the blouses, the jumpers firsthand. But yeah, I'm at that position where I can kind of start to think about these more expensive one-off items that I want to put my money towards. And this watch is definitely up there with them. My other thoughts around this kind of wish list, and when I was really thinking about what I wanted this year for my wardrobe, obviously I noticed that all of these items are more higher price point, they are more luxury brands than I'm used to. And I was trying to think about why that is, and whether now that I kind of have this base wardrobe of higher quality mid-range brands, predominantly Suzanne, am I kind of aspiring to these more luxury brands because that's the natural next step up? And is it kind of this endless hamster wheel of, well, I'm always going to just want the next best thing? Because when I was in the depths of buying most of my wardrobe from fast fashion, I could never have dreamed of having a wardrobe full of a luxury brand like Suzanne. And yet now I have that. I'm lusting after the next tier on the ladder, so to speak. I'm lusting after the designer luxury brands. So I definitely feel like I need to be careful about what I, add to my wish list and what I purchase, because I don't want it to be this endless cycle of just wanting the next best thing. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with having these expensive items on your wardrobe if they are genuinely purchases that you love and you want to make. And I'm not the sort of person who ever really wants a huge collection of designer handbags. It's not something that interests me. As I said, I would love to have just 5 beautiful handbags that I rotate between. There's something about kind of having the most luxurious item to me, and to me that isn't a Birkin, it isn't a Louis Vuitton bag, it's not a Chanel classic flap even. To me it would be something so simple and so minimal like the Row Margot bag, and something so classic and kind of timeless like the Cartier tank watch. The next item is a little bit more affordable. It is a pair of sunglasses. This was also on my dream wardrobe wish list video from a few months ago. I would love a pair of black sunglasses. I only have one pair of sunglasses at the moment and they do me absolutely fine for the majority of the year, but I do sometimes wish I had a simple black pair of sunglasses. Ones I have at the moment are a tortoiseshell from And Other Stories. They're about £25. They are great. I highly recommend them if you're looking for an affordable pair of sunglasses. And Other Stories do some really nice sunglasses, definitely designer inspired, like a lot often quite Celine inspired, but I would just like a pair of very simple kind of cat eye to rectangular-ish. I'll put the picture of the ones I am looking at the moment. They are Celine. Sunglasses I always look for secondhand first though if I'm going to make a purchase, because often if you go onto eBay or Vinted, you'll find people who have bought the sunglasses, never worn them, and are selling them for like half the price that they are retail. So definitely look secondhand before you buy them new, or at least look for a promo code, because all of these like designer luxury department stores like Net-a-Porter, Matches, they always have promotional codes if you're a first-time customer. So I know on Matches, if you're a first-time customer, you can get 15% off most things. So if you are going to make the purchase firsthand, then definitely buy it somewhere like that. I think I'm going to wait until summer or early spring, like kind of late spring, summer, before I actually really need these. But it's definitely something that I do envisage adding to my wardrobe this year. And again, I want to go for something as timeless and classic as possible. I don't think sunglasses are necessarily pieces that are going to stay in your wardrobe forever. They do scratch, they do break, they do get lost, which is why I would prefer to buy these secondhand if I can find them, but I would like a really nice high quality pair. Next up on the wish list is another bag. This is the second bag that's on my wish list, so I just have 2 bags on my wish list this year. This is a bag that I've wanted for probably at least a year now, but when I was scrolling late at night about a week ago, I noticed that they just released it, or at least I think they just released it because I haven't seen this colorway before. This bag that's been on my wish list for ages in a new colorway, and I fell in love. It is perfect. It is the Totem T-Lock bag, which is like a top handle slouchy bag. In some ways, this is quite similar to the Rome Margot in that it does have like top handle. It is a similar size to the Margot 12, I would say, and it does have that slouch. Well, the Totem bags are interesting because it is structured in some ways, structured leather, but it has that natural slouch to it as well. Whereas the Margot is softer and more slouchy in the way that it's like a very soft leather. This Totem one's a bit of a harder leather, I think, but it has that natural dip in it in the design, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. But yeah, they brought this out in a very, very dark chocolate brown. It's actually called Espresso, the shade of brown, and it is almost black. In some lights or on some websites it appears black, but it is actually a very dark brown, and it's a suede as well, and I just love it. The main colour that this bag came in beforehand was black. I mean, it did come in a couple of different colours. There was this one which I quite liked, but when this brown suede version came out, or when I saw it the other day, I just thought that is what I've been looking for, because it's not black, but again, similar to the dark brown Margot bag, it is verging on black in that you can kind of wear it in the same situations, and it does the same thing, but it's just ever so slightly softer in its colour and less harsh, and I love that about it. So this one is kind of high on my wish list. It does have silver hardware, which I was like umming and ahhing, do I like it? I do think it looks quite nice with the brown suede and the silver. It looks a little bit more unexpected. I think gold would have been a more natural choice for this colourway, but there's something about the silver I quite like. I feel like it makes it look quite modern. I've seen a few people buying this bag, a few people that I follow. Trisha bought this bag. She bought the black clutch version, I think, and she did a review a few months ago. I loved that video. I love her style, and it just looked really good on her. And then some of my friends from YouTube and Instagram have said that they have this bag as well and love it. I've heard no one say anything bad about this bag. It's obviously a much more entry-level price point than the Roe bag, and yet it's still giving a kind of similar aesthetic. So this one is definitely high on my wish list as well, in the brown suede, and yeah, I'm very excited because I do think this might be a purchase I actually make this year, because it has now been on my wish list for a year. I have like a good idea that I do really love it, and it's not just a fad or a trend. It's not something I'm going to get tired of because I've loved it so much. In fact, I just love it more each time I see it rather than the opposite, which sometimes happens with me. I sometimes love something for like a month, and then the more I see it, the more I dislike it. But the opposite is true for this bag. So that does make me think it might be a good investment to make. I think there are two categories of fashion enthusiasts when it comes to how they buy clothes and how they dress. And I think I've realised that I definitely fall into one camp rather than the other. So I think first off, there's the fashion girly who loves experimenting with her clothes, loves putting new outfits together, can spend hours in her wardrobe putting together new combinations. And often these girls, they thrift a lot, they buy a large volume of clothing, but usually they buy it secondhand. They buy things for, you know, at markets, at vintage fairs, on Depop, and they have large eclectic wardrobes that allow them to put kind of endless combinations together and get really creative when it comes to fashion. And I kind of wish I was this person. I wish I fell into this category sometimes because it looks fun, it looks creative, inventive, inspiring, but I just feel like I fall into the other category, and that's people a little bit like Hannah, who I mentioned earlier, who wear the same thing on repeat, wear the same few combinations, maybe add a couple of items each season that update their look, really invest most of their money into just a few select luxurious purchases that they envisage owning for lifetimes, forever, often in neutral colours, although I definitely do sometimes like a pop of colour, but like natural fibres, high quality clothing, and just wearing the same thing on repeat that I feel really good in. I don't love experimenting with my style. I don't love trying loads of different combinations. I don't feel like I'm necessarily very good at it. I like to just wear a pair of jeans and a lovely blouse and a beautiful bag and a great pair of shoes. And I like to have a few different combinations of that to choose from, a few different pairs of trousers, pairs of jeans, the odd dress, but ultimately I know what I like, and I like to invest in those things and have the highest quality items or versions of those things that I can afford. January's been quite a reflective month for me. It's been the first month of my low buy. I've only made one purchase during that time, which was the Axel boots from my last Suzanne video, if you saw that. The only thing I kept from that video, the one purchase I made in January, were those boots. I think I may have confused people because on my Instagram, if you follow me over there, I initially said I was going to keep the Romy bag I bought, and I was going to keep that and I did really love it. But after writing my wish list and reflecting on the two bags that are on my wish list, the Margot and the Totem bag, I decided if I ever want to purchase those, I can't afford to be buying less expensive bags like the Suzanne bag, as much as I love it. So I did end up returning that and just keeping the ankle boots, which I think was the right decision because I have worn those ankle boots pretty much every day since I bought them and kept them, which was about 10 days ago now. I was definitely lacking a pair of ankle boots in my wardrobe. It's something that I was getting dressed and just wishing I had. So I am pleased with that purchase, and that was my one purchase for January. I haven't been like online shopping that much or browsing. I've just been thinking about what I want my wardrobe to look like, and I just am someone who loves having less things. I love having fewer beautiful things. I think that's a phrase that Hannah Louise Poston invented or says all the time, having fewer but really beautiful things. And you can see from my wardrobe behind me, I love to have a really curated wardrobe with just a handful of clothes, the odd bag, a few pairs of shoes, but I like to invest in those items and make them as luxurious as I feel like I can afford. Yes, and I've kind of decided and made peace with that and realised I'm not going to be one of those fashion girlies who's always wearing something new or is always thrifting, always putting creative outfits together. I'm much more happy just wearing the same silhouettes that suit my body, that I know I like, that I know I feel really good in. Let me know what you think about that and which camp that you fall into. I would love to know, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because I think that's why my wish list this year is so small. I really think that living with less and having less but having better is a true privilege and a true luxury. The final item on my wish list is an item in a category I definitely don't need more of, I have to say. This is the one item where I probably have more than enough in this category already, but it is a category that is my kryptonite. And other than bags, shoes and jewelry, this is the fourth category that I do love to invest in, and that is coats. I'm gonna do a video probably next week of trying on all of my coats and outerwear and deciding what to keep and what to get rid of, because I have a whole wardrobe in the spare room full of just coats and jackets. It's definitely the items that I tend to like hoard the most. So I really want to do like a declutter and a cull and an audit of what I have, what I love, what I wear and what I don't reach for, and then see what I'm left with. But the one coat that's on my wish list this year, because it is my kryptonite, is the curated tailored coat. Now, a few months ago I would have said that the curated coat on my wish list was the London jacket, the shorter coat that they do in the chocolate melange colour. However, and I very almost bought that, especially when they had their sale. However, I've kind of realised that the reason I don't own many shorter coats and I always gravitate to longer coats is because I prefer them. I like wearing them. I don't really ever want to wear a shorter coat, and that's why I don't have many in my wardrobe. So although I don't necessarily need another longer coat, they're what I like to wear. So it doesn't really make sense to add a shorter coat to my wardrobe when I just don't think I would reach for it as much as my other longer coats. So I've changed slightly my wish list from wanting the curated London coat to the curated tailored coat in the same colour, in the chocolate melange, because I'm still utterly obsessed with that colourway that they do. Now, the reason I chose the tailored coat, they do this chocolate melange colour in a few longer coats. I think they have the boyfriend coat, which I already own in the camel and I do love. They have the classic coat, the London coat and the tailored coat, and I was trying to, I put them all side by side on my laptop and I had different tabs open, and I was trying to decide if I could buy one of these in this colourway, which one would I go for? And I made my decision that it would be the tailored coat, and that's because I noticed this picture where the collar is fully done up, and you can see that it is a slightly different collar to any of their other coats. All of their other coats are standard kind of wrap coats that come down. The collar doesn't really fold over in the same way that the tailored coat does. That's a very bad way of describing it. If I show you this picture, you'll see what I mean. I love the look of this. I feel like it does feel slightly Parisian, slightly vintagey with a small rounded collar like this, and I just like the silhouette of it the most. So this is the one that's gone on my wish list. Unfortunately, this particular coat is not included in their archive sale, which is still currently happening, by the way. If you haven't heard, the Curated are having a sale including some of their coats, and I think this is the first time they've ever discounted their coats. You can get 30% off some of their coats, so I'll leave that link down below if you're interested, but unfortunately the tailored coat is not part of that promotion. Otherwise I would probably buy it now. I'd probably buy it for my February purchase. But this is going to wait potentially until next winter. I don't really want to buy a coat now. I feel like we're coming slowly towards the end of winter, we're approaching spring, and I don't know if it makes sense for me to add another coat to my wardrobe, especially because I do already have many coats that I love and enjoy wearing. But come next autumn winter, this may very well be added. And to go with that, I also said the blanket scarf in the same colour as well, because I love the way that this oversized scarf looks paired with a coat in the same colour. It's so chic. It's so chic, I love it. But that's technically an 8th item, but I'm kind of combining it with the coat because I very much see it as a pairing and I would wear them together. The scarf is almost like an extension of the coat in my mind. Okay, I've talked for probably about an hour now, so my job this afternoon is to edit this down and make it a reasonable length for you to enjoy. I really hope it wasn't too long, and I really hope you understand where I'm coming from with this wish list. I was a little bit worried about releasing this video because I don't want it to seem that I'm, I don't know, pushing this kind of luxury mindset on you, because my channel is very much still about mid-range fashion and high quality fashion at an affordable price point, and that is one thing I love about Suzanne is that you can find so many of these natural fibers at more reasonable price points. I mean, it's not cheap by any means, but it's not the same price as brands like the Row and Cartier. And I definitely don't think you need to spend the kind of money that is on this wish list. And again, I'll be lucky if I get 1 to 2 items from this wish list this year. It's definitely not a list that I'm going to be ticking off everything this year or even next year or in the years to come. I just want to set my standards high so that I don't fall prey to buying things that don't belong in my wardrobe, things that are cheap, that are going to fall apart in synthetic fibers. I don't want to buy any of that this year, so I feel like I may as well aim high, because then if I have these aspirations on my wish list, hopefully I'm going to be less tempted when it comes to making frivolous, unnecessary purchases that I just don't really need. Do let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know what is on your low buy wish list this year if you are doing a low buy, or even if you're not doing a low buy, let me know what's on your wish list for 2024. I would love to know. Love chatting with you about this in the comments. Let me know what you think of what I've said today. Can you relate to any of it? Are you someone who wants to invest in less but better, in high quality, beautiful things, but just only own a few of them? If you are in that camp, I would love to know, and I'd love to hear from you. Even if you're not, if you're the total opposite, you love thrifting, you love having lots of choices within your wardrobe, I'd love to hear that point of view from you too. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to watch some more content from me, I'll leave a couple of video suggestions on screen here. Otherwise, I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye!